probably got a good view of the game from the press box. Did you have a chance to talk to him after the game?
Not yet, but I definitely will, and he'll for sure give me his thoughts.
What do you think he'll say?
I don't know. Who knows? I mean, he could get on me for the things that I missed, or he can give me a compliment. He can give me an attitude today, but I don't know. The focus is to get better, and he's always been pushing me, and that's been great for me.
That touchdown pass, that touch pass in the end zone, is that something you're used to? Is that a strength of yours? Or?
I do feel like I have a strong arm, but I'm a thrower. I go out there and see what throw needs to be made, and if it needs to be a touch pass, then that's what I got to put out there. I feel good that I can make any throw out there on the field, and you have to do that. Sometimes you're going to have to put one up in the air for your guy to make a play, and I was happy with a lot of throws I had today, and obviously some I wish I had back. So
you've been throwing to Justin now for, if I'm right, about 16 months.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Yeah.
And 10,000 throws to him?
I don't know. I don't know the specific number, but we worked a lot together. And especially being on the scout team, just being around each other all the time. I think that's also another thing. It's not just the throwing; it's being around each other and being able to talk to each other, and with each other, and stuff like that. And getting to know one another. So we have a comfortable relationship where we can talk to each other about what's going on. And there's a couple times during the game he's pressing me, let me run and go, so, and you let him run and go, and he catches a great, one-handed catch like that, and when you have great communication, you're able to go out there and talk to each other and adapt on the field, and that's what you got to have.
Is that what happened with the one-handed catch?
Oh, yeah, he'd been begging me to throw a goal up to that point, and you got to give it to him when he's asking like that.
Hey, Jake, how tough is Tony to scheme for in this hybrid?
He's almost really kind of impossible to scheme for, when you have a guy like Justin that comes out and emerges, and you have Christian Matthews and Jamae, and obviously we'll have some other guys that come in that will compete for some playing time. But when you have guys that can hurt you all around the football field, and then you got to worry about Tony, it's tough, because you can't just decide, okay, we're going to double him, or we're going to in and out him, because if you leave a guy one-on-one, then it makes it tough, so and with the ability to line him up all over the field, as you saw today, I mean, we can put him anywhere we want, so it makes it tough for people to game plan for him.
I know you've talked a lot about your game today. You said the other day, though, that your focus as a leader of this team was, to go out and show everybody what this team can do.
Yeah.
How'd you feel the overall picture was, especially in the position of a leader like you are?
Yeah, I think we mixed it up a little bit on our teams this year versus last year. But
right.
Really, if you look at the roster, there was talent-wise, there was a dominant team out there, and But with that being said, it was still a lot closer than what it was. And the white team, played us tough, and they made plays out there, and I think that's a big thing for our program, and to have depth and to have talent on both sides. So it makes us excited that we can bring the accumulation of the talent and put that all on the field. But I think our team showed that we were competitive. We showed that we had a lot of fire and fun, and we're just going to continue to work on it. Like I said, I'm going to say continually, we're going to have to keep chipping away at it. And I love the progress we've made as a team.
Having said that, you got to like the 34-7 score then.
Yeah,
right?
when I'm on the
right.
34 side, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Does the chemistry with Justin extend to off the field? Do you go bowling or play Call of Duty, or because you guys aren't telepathic on the field. I wonder if you're telepathic off the field.
Well, no, when you're married, it's a little different. I can't just go hang out with him all the time. But Justin and I do have a really good relationship, and we have a good time with each other. And when we spend time together, we have a good time. So yeah, it is on the field and off the field.
What do you do anything? Married guys, you don't get
No, we don't do anything exciting, but we just hang out, and we have a couple classes together and stuff like that. So we just always talk it up and stuff like that.
Is it telepathic on the field? The eyes, you mentioned little eyes or hand gestures. You'll see things you can see.
Well, not yet. We're still working. I mean, we made a lot of good plays out there today, but it's it's a constant work in progress. Justin would admit that there's things that he could have worked on today. There's things I could have worked on today, and things that we missed today. So it's a constant work in progress, and we're going to get there. That's definitely where I want to get with all my receivers. With Justin, we've been working together a long time, so we're maybe a little bit ahead of the game than other people. But that's something that I want to work with everybody to get to.
sideline route, how many times you run that quick one that was like a curl? Like there's only one place he can get it, or it's out of bounds. You got two options.
You know, we're putting him. You know, he's such a big-bodied, physical receiver that you know you want to give him opportunities to make a play where it's just him or nobody.
Yeah.
You know, you know, with his physical skill set, you know, you love that. You know, just putting it in a spot where only he can catch
Back
it.
shoulder.
So it's good to have him out there and you know, seeing him execute and catching and doing all that stuff.
With those abilities to be able to just go up and get the ball, though, I mean, a guy like that, do you give him an opportunity, or do you throw some passes down there that maybe you wouldn't otherwise throw just because you know he has the potential to do it?
We've needed it. You know, we've needed that in our offense. I mean, when you have Tony, you know, being a dynamic football player as he is, and you have, you know, the set of running backs we have, really what we need is a dynamic, you know, football player to go down and stretch the defense, make plays downfield, and, you know, really stretch the defense out. So, you know, with him going out there and showcasing what he did, I mean, that's phenomenal. It helps out our team a lot, and it, you know, raises the expectations for these other receivers as well. So, you know, it's a lot of fun to see him go out there and perform and play as well as he did, and now we're going to expect that from him every single day.
How far has he come?
You know, a tremendous amount. I mean, you know, coaches talked about it last spring. I mean, he was really struggling with, you know, with everything that was going on with him mentally. I mean, it was tough for him to go out there and perform to his capabilities, and you know, it's just been a constant progression for him. And you know, fall camp, and he played a lot better. And you know, when we were on scout team, you know, we had fun together. And this spring, he just continued to get better and better and better. And he's gotten more and more confidence. And when you get more and more confidence, you make plays like that, you know, out there on the field. So, you know, he's just going to continue to get better, and I'm going to continue to, you know, push him hard and you know, make him the best possible receiver he can be.
You don't got to say skeptical, but what do you say to fans that have been guarded in their enthusiasm?
Well,
I think there was a lot of that last year.
Yeah.
A little more surprised in a bad way.
Well, I think guarded or skeptical, however you want to put it, is a great way to put it. I mean, you know, it's understandable. You know, there's a lot of excitement, a lot of buzz, and whatever last year, and that's what happens when you have a new coach and the new system and all that. And obviously we didn't perform, but you know, this is year 2 in our program, and we feel like we're a very completely different team, and we feel very excited about where we're moving forward with the pieces we have. And you know, I think you're going to see a totally different football team out there, and I think we're going to surprise a lot of people. And you know, that's fine if people are guarded and skeptical. That's great. You know, we've taken a us versus the world mentality, and you know, that's how we're going to continue to be. So.
Justin said working with those kids this morning kind of helped loosen them up and kind of help get them out there and get them ready for that. What about you? How did you feel?
I mean, it's awesome to be able to be with the kids out there in the community and be able to reach out and have fun and just enjoy the moment, you know, because you know, you just make those kids' days and just make this whole experience better. Not only do they get to watch, you know, their favorite program, their favorite team, but they get to interact with the players and stuff, and that's fun for us, you know. Like Justin said, it makes it, you know, the environment a little bit looser and more fun. But you know, trust me, when we get back in here, we're all focused and ready to go, you know.
Anything missing from today? Since the beginning of the off season to right now, what's the biggest difference for you?
You know, I think right. I mean, obviously, just you know, knowing that I'm going to be playing and knowing that you know what my role is and knowing what you know going forward. You know, we just got to continue to stay on this progression of getting better every day. You know, that's what we got to focus, one day at a time. You know, 1 week at a time, and we just got to continue to push each other to maximize, you know, our potential. And when we get this influx of guys coming in the summer, we got to come together and gel, and that's really the biggest thing that we got to do is come together this summer with the new guys and you know, make this a fun year.
What do you want to do personally to try and get ready for the season from now until August?
Well, obviously, just a lot of work. You know, a lot of work in the weight room, a lot of work, you know, off the field and in the film room. And you know, there's a constant progression. You know, there's the physical side of things and there's the mental side of things. And you know, I feel like I always have a lot of things to work on, and I'm gonna, you know, push myself to be the best player that I can be for my team, and that's what I'm gonna try to accomplish.
Jake, was there anything missing from today? I mean, to make it a cherry on top kind of day?
I don't know. I think we were all you know, having fun out there. I think, you know, just the cherry on top is once we're all together and we're competing as one team. I think that's the ultimate cherry on top. You know, because you're going out there and you're having fun, but you're competing against your teammates. You know, you want to be able to celebrate it all together. And you know, this was a great, you know, showcase for guys to be able to go out there and show what they can do. And you know, I think we figured out a lot, you know, from this game and moving forward and and it's going to be fun for our team this offseason.
You've played and started at a high level. What will the adjustment be like for Justin to take this now and translate it into a real game?
Yeah, that's a great question, because for me, I've felt very confident in what I'm doing and going about things in a certain way, just because I've had that playing experience. But for Justin, this is the same game he's been playing for a long time, and he's going to go out there and he's going to, the way he practices and the way he performs on the practice field is how he's going to translate it over into a game. And I know he's excited. He's chomping at the bit to get out there, and I'm excited to go out there with him and throw the ball to him.